Sports Bucks with Steve. Welcome once again with the Wealth Coach, the Retirement Wealth Coach. A lot to talk about in a short period of time. But again, we thank you guys for listening and subscribing to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. The Sports Bucks has grown a great deal. But today's show, I want to talk a little bit about Dak, America's media quarterback. Whether it's the 4-letter network or the 3-letter network, Dak Prescott is always being discussed for one reason or the other, is what we've learned. It used to be that it was the Cowboys that were being discussed. Now, it's all about Dak. The Dak attack, which I think, quite frankly, is whack. This is Sports Bucks with Steve. Let's talk about it. Dakota Rain Prescott. That's my quarterback. But apparently, it's the media's quarterback as well. Let's get into it. Sports Bucks with Steve.
Sports Bucks with Steve takes a deeper dive into the world of sports and the impact of money, fan debates, current sporting news, and offers financial tips. Coach Steve is a certified financial fiduciary and wealth coach who specializes in retirement income tax-free strategies for individuals and business owners throughout the country.
Sports Bucks. A famous chime that went off in 2016 with the fourth round selection. Your Dallas Cowboys, America's team, selects Dak Prescott, quarterback, Mississippi State. Well, since Dak's been drafted, Dak was Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I believe went to, Zeke, and Dak was the overall rookie of the year, if I recall, and helped lead Dallas to a 13-3 number one overall seed in the NFC playoff spot, and unfortunately lost to the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. One of those other sad tales that Cowboy fans have had to deal with over the years of watching our team come up short in some big games. But the 27-year drought that's been since 1996 until this current season, Dak Prescott is 30, folks. He has not been around for those. So he's been around since 2016. He actually missed the season. But I want to give you a little bit of a facts because there are so many different people that love to talk about what Dak hasn't done or doing. And before we go into those, I just want to give you guys a little bit of something that I shared on my radio show. So please check that out on KCAA Radio, Sports Bucks with Steve. Also ESPN Charlotte's, ESPNCLT.com. You can check out some of the previous shows of things that we've done on the radio and not done necessarily on our YouTube channel. We want to thank all the sponsors and definitely thank the people that have been, Tax Doctor, the Super Rolf. But Dak, the Dallas Cowboys, listen to this number. So the media would have you believe that Dak Prescott is the weakest link. Bye-bye. That he is the problem for Dallas, and there hasn't been any other issues other than Dak has not gotten it done. So before I go into all these numbers, actually, I think I want to play this video. Obviously, this is fair use, according which is from ESPN, and this is Stephen A. Smith doing what Stephen A. Smith is honestly paid to do. It was about the Cowboys, and now it's become more about how can we find a way to blame Dak a little bit more. This is what it's become. So check out this
Prescott
video.
Era, a success or a failure so far?
It's a failure. It's a failure. Let's call it what it is. This is America's team.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team that's worth $10 billion. $10 billion. $10 billion. That's what Forbes magazine said. $10 billion. Okay? And what do you have to show for it? It is bad enough that the Dallas Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl since 1995, to be exact. All right? And clearly, obviously, that includes the entire Dak Prescott era. They haven't even made a Super Bowl appearance. Not only have they not made a Super Bowl appearance, they haven't made an NFC Championship game appearance. You're damn right it's a failure. You understand? Now, that doesn't mean that they haven't had great moments. It doesn't mean that they haven't had respectable seasons. But on several occasions, we've looked at the Dallas Cowboys with their roster. We labeled them a Super Bowl contender, and they have yet to even get to an NFC Championship game. You cannot get around that, Ryan Clark. You can't get around it. Dak Prescott, since 2016, because he balled out in 2016, Dak Prescott has a 2-4 playoff record. Did you know that tied for the worst in the NFL since 2016 with Big Ben and Russell Wilson? I got another stat for you, all right? Because quarterbacks who have as many playoff wins as Dak during his time in Dallas, you know who those quarterbacks are? You ready for this? Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, who just showed up last year in one season. In one season, he had as many playoff victories as Dak Prescott. That's Brock Purdy. You know who the other guy is, Ryan Clark? Blake Bortles.
Who, bro?
Blake Bortles. That's who has as many victories. I mean, are we going to stop this nonsense? The brother got his bag. He's the face of the star. He's the quarterback for the most prestigious franchise in sports annals, although one would argue like me that it's the Yankees, okay? The bottom line is Dak Prescott has not come up big.
So you heard Dak Prescott's the Stephen A. Smith scrutiny and consistent belligerent and honestly disrespecting Dak Prescott's name and his game. Well, I've grown like maybe some folks, and it's not just Stephen A. Smith. We've got Dan Orlowski, who constantly has something to say about Dak. There's certain media heads that are put in place to constantly talk bad about Dak Prescott. Stephen A. Smith says he's not a top 10 quarterback, which is ridiculous when you look at the league. And of course, there are people that amazes me because there are fans of like the Giants and the Eagles. Of course, they'll say, oh, Dak is not a top 10 quarterback. But Dak has like an 11-1 record against the Giants. So if he's not a top 10 quarterback, then explain to me why you keep losing to him. Explain to me Dak's record against the Eagles is also, I think he's like 8-3 when he plays against the Eagles. So if this guy is so bad as a quarterback, or you tell me he's not, then why does he keep beating your teams? And let's not keep saying it's about the roster, because let's take a look at the reality of the day is since 2019, I'm going to give you some actual real numbers that ESPN won't give you. And the talking heads like ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, and others won't give you. Dallas Cowboys offensively have averaged 29.9 points per game since 2019 with Dak Prescott under center. That's the highest in the league. Wait a minute. So the guys is the highest under the league offensively. Now keep in mind, Dallas did Dak no favors by getting rid of Amari Cooper last season. But you knew that was going to happen. Anybody that really had sense, all you had to do is look at the fact that who got the number 88. This is what I try to tell people. When CeeDee Lamb fell to Dallas in the first round, of the draft, and they gave him number 88, the writing was on the wall for Amari Cooper. He was going to be gone. You don't give the fame 88 to a wide receiver unless he's your guy. So Dallas had 1A Amari Cooper, and they had 1B CeeDee Lamb, and you had Michael Gallup at that time in his rightful position as wide receiver 3. Well, last season, let's give you a little bit more numbers. Amari Cooper's not there. CeeDee Lamb develops nicely into a true number 1 receiver. Michael Gallup regressed, and they had nobody else to get the ball to. The 15 interceptions, what they don't tell you is half of them were off of the receiver's hands. Noah Brown probably just caused an interception in practice because he just couldn't catch a cold. And the Dallas Cowboys, when it came to separation, they were ranked 27th or 28th in the league as wide receivers. But yet, when Dak Prescott was under center, this was the highest scoring offense. But yet, when Dak Prescott was under center, this team routinely scored 29 and 30 a game. But it's still Dak is the problem, right? So Dak, he mentioned, is 2-4 in the playoffs. Okay, Dak's 2-4 in the playoffs. Well, is that all Dak's fault because they haven't won these games? Let's kind of look at some more stats. See, the one thing about me is I am a factual guy. So I don't believe in saying things without having some level of receipts. So let's take a look. Since everybody thinks Dak is the problem with Dallas and this his playoff performance, what they don't talk about is prior to the game against Tom Brady, there were many experts that was picking the Bucs to beat Dallas. But when Prescott had a 5-touchdown game, legendary game, if that had been anybody else other than Dak Prescott, they'd still be talking about it. Trevor Lawrence came back and won because the Chargers choked. And he threw, 4 interceptions? And they still came back and won? Justin Herbert takes no blame for only coming up with 3 points in the playoffs. But yet, Dak Prescott gets the blame for his performances when Dallas doesn't win. Amazes me, right? So let me show you guys some information. And I'm going to take a quick break. You guys just stay with me. I'm going to come back because I actually want to hear from a media head that is actually in the same mindset that I am, that is not on brand, is not on script with the agenda of the 4-letter network or the 3-letter network. I'm going to play you that. And that's from Booger McFarland, courtesy of ESPN. We claim, again, fair use. But let me show you some numbers. Seems like everyone agrees that Dak's playoff performance is the biggest knock against him, right? Well, let's check this out. Here's a list of all active NFL quarterbacks with a better playoff EPA, which is per play, from 2016 on than Dak currently. This is the list. Remember, Dak's not a top 10 quarterback, is what they say, right? Remember, they wouldn't take Dak Prescott. This team wouldn't take Dak Prescott if he was on the market. That's what they say, right? And remember, Dallas Cowboys are a $9 or $10 billion franchise, according to Stephen A. Smith, right? Remember the quarterback purgatory, Cowboys Nation, that we faced when Troy Aikman retired. Anybody remember Quincy Carter's and the Stoners and the Drew Bledsoes and so forth? That was in between the bridge of Aikman to Romo, who came in 2006 and manned at the helm. Came up short many times. He caught flack as well, but not like this. From 2006 to 2016, when his body finally let him down and the rookie took over and they just took off. 13-3, right? So let's take a look. Since Dak is not in your top 10, since he's the only guy that gets blamed every time they lose, and there's nobody else that's not that is performing less than Dak Prescott. So let's look at it. So, let's take a look. Let's see who this is again. That's better than Dak currently, called according to EPA, which means these are the per plays now of who's getting it done, is what we're talking about, right? So here we go. Patrick Mahomes, 2 rings. But so we're going to take a look at, I want to go to the video though, as we talked about a little bit about this Dak situation and this attack on Dak by the media. But I'm going to take a quick little commercial. Then I want to come back. Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me go back to the EPA. I forgot I was talking about the EPA in terms of what we're seeing with Dak. So second guy, Aaron Rodgers, 1 ring. Third guy, Matthew Stafford, 1 ring with the Los Angeles Rams and that super team they put together. And the other ring is Russell, last name Wilson, 1 ring with the Legion of Boom. Should have had 2, but they decided to try to make Russ the MVP. That's another story. So notice the trend here. There are only 4 guys that have a better EPA than Dakota Rain Prescott in the playoffs. Since they try to say it's Dak is the fact is the problem, when the fact remains that Dak Prescott has the 5th best EPA since 2016, since he's been in the league, not named a Super Bowl champion such as Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, or Russell Wilson. And you know something? What all 4 of those guys have in common? Or at least the 3 of them? They were all first-round draft picks. Patrick Mahomes, first round. Aaron Rodgers, late first round. Matthew Stafford, number 1 overall pick out of Georgia. Russell Wilson, I believe, was either the 2nd or 3rd round pick by Seattle. Dak Prescott was the 4th round pick, meant to just back up Tony Romo. But Tony Romo's body couldn't stay healthy. So let's see that. So that means that Dak Prescott is quite literally the 5th best active quarterback in terms of individual performance during the playoffs on average since his rookie season in the NFL. These are the facts. If Dak didn't have a star on his helmet, the 3 and 4 letter networks would be singing his praises, holding him to such ridiculous, impossible standards that no one else is held to. The Dak slander has never made any sense, and quite frankly, it never will. Now let's look at Dak's 4th quarter rating. Sure, let's take a look at it. Since 2016, Dak Prescott is 2nd best in EPA play in the postseason during the 4th quarter and overtime amongst all quarterbacks. You heard what I said. Anything else? You want to learn something else? Dak's supposedly interception problem, his career interception is 2%. 2%. Like 2% milk. So that means, let's take a look at this. For every 100 pass attempts Mr. Dakota Rain Prescott has made in the NFL, only 2 end up as interceptions on average. The only other active starting quarterback in the NFL right now with a better career interception percentage and 1,500 plus passing attempts, you want to know who those are? Aaron Rodgers, who never wants to throw an interception. The great Patrick Mahomes. You notice that those 2 at least are top 10 all-time quarterbacks. Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson. But hey, go ahead, continue on with your baseless claims and one anomalous season. Sure doesn't prove anything and definitely doesn't say that Dak Prescott is not a top 10 quarterback. Heck, he has an argument for top 5 if you look at what I just said, his playoff performance. So put some more respect on your name, on Dak Prescott's name. And I want to hear a guy who's in the media who's actually had enough of it. This is from, actually, you know what? I'm going to do a commercial before I do that, but I'm going to come back with what Booger McFarland had to say with ESPN about Dak Prescott. Check these couple of these commercials out for me, and we'll play them.
Are you looking for an affordable yet exceptional virtual healthcare solution for your workforce? Have you been thinking of a way to attract and keep a good team of employees? Well, your solution is here with My Virtual Docs. From virtual primary, urgent, and mental health care, a free and low-cost medicine formulary, and even pet care, My Virtual Docs has got everyone in the household covered. My Virtual Docs allows employers to provide employees and their families with convenient access to the care they need, on demand without having to miss valuable work time. Our strong network of providers and pharmacies means patients have unlimited access to their providers virtually with no copay, anywhere they can get online and have their medicines delivered right to their doorstep. By simply logging into their portal, patients can make appointments, visit with doctors, fill prescriptions, and more. And it keeps getting better. With the use of our smart app, Burn, your employees will be inspired to earn dollars while they burn calories. Who wouldn't want to get paid to go for a walk? Here at My Virtual Docs, we're committed to helping employers help employees and their families achieve optimal health and wellness with exceptional care at an affordable price. Visit myvirtualdocs.com for more details.
Hi, my name is Lily. My mom and dad used to fight about money all the time. Then one day, I heard them talking about this guy, some uncle I never knew, called Uncle Sam. Well, they say this Uncle Sam guy wanted them to pay him like $1 gazillion, and they didn't have $1 gazillion. So they called this company they heard on the radio called the Tax Doctor. And the Tax Doctor worked with Uncle Sam's people. I think they're called the IRS. And they're able to work it out so my mom and dad didn't have to pay Uncle Sam very much money at all. So now mom and dad are happy, and I'm happy too. Thanks, Tax Doctor.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call now and pay less.
Call 800-268-1055. That's 800-268-1055. 800-268-1055.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
No, it's Super Roth! Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually, tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
TheSuperRoth.com. Listen, man, we're back at it again. And before we get ready to go into this commercial, not the commercial, but I want to go into what ESPN's Booger McFarland had to say about the media slander of Dakota Rain Prescott. So let's go right into that as we get ready to take $4 on out of here. We wind down. Check it out from Booger McFarland, ESPN's. There's finally somebody that says, you know what? This is just too much. Enough is enough. Let's see if I got the right one. Hold on a second as we go through this, because this is, well, actually, I did want to hear from Dak real quickly about his relationship and his thoughts on, because a lot of people think because Trey Lance is now coming over from Dallas, you know, that there's some issues there that Dak is concerned about. And I think that's not concerned. I think what Dak was really talking about was his relationship. Well, actually, let's go to I want to play you the interview. Let's see what happens first. I'll take Dak as the last, but check out this interview, courtesy of ESPN, and this is fair use.
Change anything for Dak when it comes to playing for his job?
Well, I don't think Trey Lance changes anything. Like, if Dak Prescott is concerned about Trey Lance, then he's got other issues. That's number one. Mm-hmm. I think the pressure was already there when you move on from the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, and now Mike McCarthy is going to call the plays because of how he wants the game to look, particularly down the stretch. I think you have to look at the Cowboys, understanding that Jerry Jones has talked about he hadn't won a Super Bowl since 1995, 96. There's pressure there being the Cowboys head coach and quarterback every year. You compound that with all the interceptions that Dak Prescott threw last year. Sure, there's pressure, but it's always going to be there. Like, we scrutinize Dak Prescott, man, more than any quarterback in football. I understand he's the Cowboy quarterback. I understand the star on his helmet, but he's 61-36 as a starting quarterback. Sure, he needs to come up bigger in the bigger moments in the postseason. I get that. But some of the Dak Prescott slander on our network really just kind of blows my mind for somebody that's been as consistent as he is. Yes, I say consistent because last year was the anomaly. I just think that Dak Prescott needs to understand that he's the quarterback of the Cowboys this season. He's going to be the quarterback of the Cowboys going forward. I don't think Cooper Rush, I don't think Trey Lance, I don't think anyone in that organization right now scares him from being the starting quarterback going forward. And maybe we just need to appreciate Dak Prescott for what he's done, understanding the situation, how he started, taking over for Tony Romo, and now moving forward. I think Dak will be fine in Dallas, guys.
Dak will be fine in Dallas. So Booger McFarley, actually, I really appreciate his take because it was the accurate take, right? There's just way too much conversations about Dak Prescott and how he's not gotten it done. And I just laid out all the facts, guys. I just laid you out all the facts that tell you the real story. Dallas Cowboys have failed either when the offense wasn't as good, the defense was good, or when the offense was really good, the defense wasn't any good. So they put together a roster this season. I believe that's on paper, barring any injuries, they have an opportunity to get to the big game. Their roster is top 5 in the league. You look at it at the addition of Stephon Gilmore and shores up the other corner spot. Who didn't know they had a problem at the other corner spot? Jerry. Who didn't know that? Who didn't know that you didn't have another guy over there on the other side? And we saw that hurt them where they lost games where they didn't have that. When you look at the Green Bay game, it was atrocious cornerback play that allowed them to lose. How many more points does Dak need to score? It was what did he score? Almost 30 or 30 in that game? It was atrocious cornerback play against Jacksonville that lost that game when Dak and them were scoring 30-something points again. So the defense had to take some blame, and the coordinator should have taken some blame, and the GM of the Joneses should have taken some blame because you should have gotten yourself a better player opposite of Trayvon Diggs and didn't do so. So you didn't have the receiving core. You went with Michael Gallup, who was coming off of an ACL, who is best suited in the role he is this year, third wide receiver. So now you went out and got Brandon Cooks. So this season, there should be no excuses. As long as they're healthy, go out there, compete, and get it done. Philly has arguably the best roster in the NFL. They made it to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts gets a lot of credit, but he's dealing with 1A and 1B wide receivers. He's got the best offensive line in football. He's got one of the top 5 tight ends in football. He's got a nice group of running backs behind him. He's got one of the best, arguably the top 2-3 defensive lines in football. He had a really good. They were loaded. And Jerry just sat back and let the Philadelphia Eagles just get whatever they wanted. So it's a organizational reason why Dallas Cowboys have not been to the Super Bowl or let alone the NFC Championship since 1995-96. There's an organizational issue. Dakota Rain Prescott has only been with Dallas since 2016 when he was a 4th-round draft pick that was not expected to compete for the starting job. He took over because Tony Romo was injured once again. But we hold Dak Prescott to the number 1 overall pick standings as if he's Baker Mayfield, who was the number 1 draft pick overall, or to some of these other guys that didn't pan out as 1st-round draft picks. Carson Wentz, how about that? The number 2 overall pick that is out of the league. But Dak Prescott used to be, you listen to some of these networks, he was worse than Carson Wentz when we knew all Carson does is Wentz. So this is the problem with the media, the ESPNs, the Foxes. They don't give you context because it's just hot takes. And a lot of those takes are straight garbage. It's Sports Bucks with Steve. Let's hear from Dakota Rain Prescott, Dak, my quarterback, as he talks about the loss of Will Grier and not worried about, well, because Trey Lance is coming in to take his place. Listen to Dak Prescott.
That we have. Honestly, right now, I mean, my heart and my mind is with Will. And so it's a tough situation, honestly. Love that guy to death over there, plays his ass off, comes in, prepares the right way each and every day. And yeah, I mean, as I said, we're gonna welcome Trey, and that's what you do for a teammate. I mean, we're excited. I'm excited. I'm always there to help somebody, help a teammate. Very selfless person, so that's not going to change by any means. But my heart's with that guy over there right now. That we have.
His heart is with that guy over there, and that guy that he's referring to is Will Grier, who out of West Virginia University and a Charlottean out of the Queen City, Charlotte native, where I live as well. And Will Grier, who Dak Prescott called a great game as the offensive coordinator in the preseason, allowed Will Grier to shine in that situation. And Will, kudos to Will. Hopefully he gets picked up by another team. I haven't checked the waivers to see where he is, but I think that, to Dak's credit, it was more about losing a guy like Will Grier. You grow close when you coach football, or you've been in the locker rooms. You grow close to certain guys, man. And so that's what that's about. I don't think Dak is worried about the addition of Trey Lance. He knows this is a business. He understands that. And if Trey Lance balls out and gets in and does what he needs to do, then okay, maybe he has something to be concerned with. But stop acting as if this is all Dak Prescott's fault, as if 27 years is all on Dak Prescott's big shoulders. Dakota Rain Prescott, Sports Bucks with Steve is here to salute you. We want you to ball out, of course, and we want you to take my team and Cowboy Nation. We want you guys to get to the promised land. And not only get there, we want to win it. We don't want participation trophies. We want to win it. We'll leave that to the Eagles. Anyway, this is Sports Bucks with Steve. We want to thank you all for listening and subscribing. Please like and subscribe to the Sports Bucks with Steve YouTube channel, and check us out on the radio. If you're listening to KCAA radio every Saturday morning, I believe it comes on at 7:00 a.m. Pacific time. And you can also check it out on ESPN CLT. That's a different show. And so check it out. But we want to thank all of our sponsors again: Tax Doctor, the Super Off, My Virtual Docs, Healthcare, wherever. The Beneficiary Liquidity Plan. Don't forget the 401kmistake.com. If you're rolling over a 401k before you roll it over, go to 401kmistake.com and make sure you don't make any errors before you do so. And if you want to know where you are financially, go to which is OUR, ourretirementscore.com. That's ourretirementscore.com to find out where you are and where your financial risks are. You'll get a score. But don't forget the Super Off. This is Sports Bucks with Steve. We appreciate you for listening, for watching. We'll see you next week, or sometime next week, or we'll see what happens. All right. Enjoy your Labor Day. All right, guys. Take care.